Hi YouTube, this is Evie. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. This time I'm going to be talking about dating your dominant, or for that matter, dating your submissive. There seems to be a lot of pressure around people when they're involved in BDSM with each other to be somehow involved sexually or romantically because BDSM is such an extreme thing. It makes sense that you would only participate in it with people that you really truly love and are committed to and have long-term relationships with. And this is something that has really sort of evolved out of the last like 20 or 30 years. BDSM has really sort of become, if not a part of mainstream media, something that's at least periodically mentioned in mainstream media, be that through movies or books. For better or for worse, BDSM is a lot of times just seen as kinky sex. And because the larger culture sees sex and, this kind of lifestyle as something that you would only do with an extremely intimate partner, they automatically draw the conclusion that it must be with somebody who is a deep romantic or sexual partner when that's not always the case. Back when ye olde BDSM way back in the day was still a thing and the focus was either on S&M or on discipline and punishment, you did not bring sex into your scenes. It was frowned upon to bring in that sort of sexual energy to BDSM. It wasn't seen as a good practice for reasons that to a everyday person in the modern world might not seem to make sense. Today, it really just makes people raise their eyebrows when you are with a dominant or you're with a submissive and you're not dating them. And I think there are plenty of perfectly valid reasons why you may or may not want to date your dominant or date your submissive. So, for example, you could be a submissive who is relatively new to the scene. You don't really know what you like, you don't really know what you're into yet, and you want to take some time to kind of explore different dynamics and different lifestyles and different relationships before you settle into any particular one. So, rather than just glomming on and dating the very first dominant you meet, you kind of spread your wings a little bit and you are involved on a regular basis with three different dominants who each have different styles and different types of relationships, but you don't just commit yourself to only one. On the flip side, you could be a dominant who has several submissives that each sort of perform different kinds of submission for you. You all see them regularly and you try to devote your time to them as not necessarily equally, but equitably as possible. And you don't really feel like committing to any particular one of them. Now, of course, in these scenarios, I'm assuming that people are monogamous. It's a lot easier to casually date multiple people if you want to do that in BDSM, if you are poly, but generally it's hard when you are monogamous, and most people, especially female submissives, are gonna at least start out being monogamous or wanting some kind of monogamy. Now, of course, these scenarios are assuming that people are monogamous, and there are a lot of poly people in BDSM, but poly takes a lot of work. As I'll talk about through the course of this video, dating somebody is a lot of effort, it is a lot of time, and dating multiple people all simultaneously while trying to coordinate that relationship and make things work on an even level, everybody feels like they're getting the amount of attention that they need and deserve, is really, really draining. And maybe they're the kind of person who just doesn't enjoy going on dates. They just enjoy being single. They enjoy the freedom of being single. And while they enjoy BDSM and they enjoy having a partner that they can do kinky things with, it's not really in their nature to want to settle down, be that with one person or multiple people. You could also have a situation where somebody is already in a committed relationship with a non-kinky partner, and this kinky partner is fine with their kinky partner going out and pursuing relationships with other people in terms of BDSM and having a DS relationship, but not with actually romantically or sexually dating them. And that is quite common as well. You could also be between relationships. So let's say you have been in a long-term BDSM relationship and you were dating someone for like 2 or 3 years and then that relationship ended. You're probably not going to want to go out and date again in a very serious manner immediately. You want time to explore the fact that you're single. You want time to sort of meet other people. You want just time to be yourself by yourself and not have to worry about being committed to any one particular person. And maybe eventually you'll start dating again. Maybe you'll find a dominant or a submissive or whatever it is that you fancy, and you'll be in a long-term relationship again, but you're not right now and you're fine having a BDSM dynamic where dating is not part of that element. And also, a lot of this idea over wanting or needing to date your dominant or date your submissive is tied up in the idea that the only extremely close relationship you can have is with somebody that you are involved with romantically or sexually. There are a lot of people out there who have very, very deep, long term, meaningful friendships, have very deep friendships with people, not people they date, not people they're casually dating, not somebody they're actually romantically interested in. They just have a very, very close pair bond, but it's based in sort of either some sort of platonic element or whatever it is, just something that's not romantic or sexual, and that's perfectly fine and perfectly valid as well. Additionally, if you're involved in a BDSM dynamic with somebody and you're not dating them, that gives you the advantage of not being prone to a few things that couples are. You're probably not going to bring your outside problems into the bedroom. You're not likely to do things for your partner that you don't necessarily like or don't want to participate in just to please them or preserve the relationship. You're more likely to be honest about your feelings during, before, and after a scene, or before, after, or during certain events of that scene. And it really just makes you a lot more prone to honesty because you're not consciously trying to preserve another person's feelings and or trying to preserve a relationship. This isn't to say that people in relationships are dishonest with each other or they try to hide things, but if you are concerned about your loved one and you want to make sure that you don't hurt their feelings, you're likely to sort of sugarcoat problems. And in BDSM, if you're doing something you don't like, you should probably be upfront about it and or maybe just a little bit brutally honest, but that can be difficult for a lot of people, myself included. The sort of key overarching element of all of this is, as it often is with my videos, is don't judge people. Don't try to push your own ideas and perspectives on other people when they're not wanted. Don't try to force yourself into a relationship or dynamic when you don't want to be there. Don't just date somebody because they gave you an ultimatum that they won't submit to you anymore if you don't romantically pursue them, or they won't be your dominant anymore unless you see them exclusively. That's just a recipe for disaster, and it's going to lead to a lot of resentment. Now, I think there are a lot of things that people who don't date their dominants can learn from people in committed relationships with their dominant, and vice versa. The key thing is just to be accepting and listen, and don't be an asshole. That's really all I have to say about this particular subject. Of course, if you disagree with me, please feel free to put that in the comments down below, as well as any questions or concerns or ideas for other videos you might have. I do make videos twice a week, so if you want to see more, please subscribe. You can do that down below. And until I see you next, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.